Yeah, CHABO. Check, check. I just was going to double check. Check. Okay, here we go. If I could ask, please, Ms. Ramirez, Teresa Ramirez, if you're here, if you could come up. Ms. Rosemary Dueñas. Rosemary Dueñas. If we could have a family member of Mr. Naida, I believe his mother's. Okay. If we could have a representative, okay. We were just informed, can I make the announcement, that this is how committed the Naida family is. His mother, Michael Naida, got injured 2 days ago, and so get me on a wheelchair. I'm not missing this conference, so she's here. And Mr. Uncle Bobby, are you in here, Mr. Uncle Bobby Cephas? Right here, this Oscar Grant Uncle. And I'm not sure if Genevieve Rizad is here. Is she here? Oh, there you are. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we have our family panel. Some of us are meeting for the first time in person, by the way. We've been for 5 months on these teleconferences and getting to know each other. Some of you have been on them. I'm going to cut my intro to the family a little because we're going to start shaving off, as you know, minutes to make up for a little bit of breathing room we were giving ourselves in the morning and make sure we had a good amount of people in the welcoming, which we do. And so, why, as the Colectivo Todo Puede Dar Pueblo, we got together with the local groups here, Mecha, others, and we started talking slowly but surely with the families especially, where do we want to go next? And one of the things that we seen was the need of the families to get to know each other. Because once the local families started talking, there's this power and the strength of the family that we said, we have to harness that energy of the people. And so how do we do it? Well, let's find the families. And slowly but surely, we started finding out the families here in Oxnard, the Limon family, the Ramirez family, and others are not alone. We started finding that people have been resisting police brutality and the killings, extrajudicial killings is what we're saying, of their children for a long time, and they're doing amazing work. So we said, let's find them and invite them, and let's get to know each other. That's what the purpose of the conference is, which has been stated. So that's why we wanted to highlight briefly in the morning to set the tone of that by inviting a few of the families that have been very active across the state here today in a brief panel. And what we've asked is for the family members to briefly say who they are, who their child was, who they're fighting for, and okay, I'm sorry. I was just informed that the Limon family, the Limon family, we can have a representative up here. I apologize. Okay, so in a bit, I'm gonna hand off the mic for the families themselves to speak who they are, and I'll be moderating. The most important thing that we've asked them to say is why it's important to get out to the streets and fight for justice, to lose our shackles and lose our fear, to take on those that are oppressing us. That's the goal of this panel, to bring it from a family perspective. So I'm gonna go ahead and start, if you don't mind, from this way, or maybe Ms. Ramirez, since she's representing, if you don't mind starting. Okay, there's microphones here. I'll let Ms. Teresa Ramirez present herself. Bienvenida.
Many that are going through the same thing, and absolutely there's back to prison. He had been on parole for committing a car burglary, I think it was, and he did his time, but he did not want to go back. He was trying very hard to better himself. All he wanted was a family and a baby of his own. Never got that chance because on June 23rd, he got murdered by the Oxnard PD. They deny hitting him. They deny tasering him. They deny doing anything to him. But I got to see his body in a plastic bag. That was the last time I saw him cut open, because they did the autopsy without nobody's consent. We didn't get to see our son. In the hospital, the person who was GPSing our address to let us know what they were doing got arrested. No charges, just got arrested, so he couldn't notify the family. They say it was a terrible tragedy. That's what the police chief of Oxnard says. It was just a horrible tragedy. But in fact, just by looking at what they did to my son is, they beat him to death. This was just part of what I could see, because my son would not allow me to take a look at the rest of his body. He said, "No, Mom, it's so hard for you to see the rest." So I know that they murdered my son. And how could they cover it up? They hired a retired medical examiner to do his autopsy on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, so that he can sign his death certificate falsely, so that he can lie. He had nothing else to lose. And justice needs to be done. Because they did murder my son. And these officers are still working. They got 4 days paid vacation for the murder of my son. And they're still working. 2 of these also murdered Limon. Why? Why are they still working? Why are they still free to continue hurting and killing our children? They should be locked up where they belong. And our chief of police needs to be fired.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Maybe if I could ask Ms. Limon, can you say a few words, please?
Good morning, everyone. I too will be speaking in English and Spanish. My parents were Spanish speakers, so I owe that to them. Good morning, everyone. Today is a saddening and a powerful day. I say saddening because I look into the crowd and I see so many families and so many people who have lost a loved one to an issue that should not exist. I also say powerful because at the same time, I see a crowd of people who is using their voice and is speaking out against this police abuse and brutality. My brother, Alfonso Limon Jr., was shot and killed by the Oxnard Police Department on the night of October 13, 2012. His death has marked my family and my life forever. Department, who allegedly mistook him for a suspect when they were in pursuit of another person. Their mistakes cost my brother his life and have caused a permanent wedge in our lives, which will never be filled. We miss his smile, his hugs, his laughter, companionship, and love. We miss him more and more every day. He was only 21 years old and did not deserve to have his life robbed so coldly and carelessly. It was completely unnecessary. We stand here with you today and share the same pain, grief, anger, and frustrations as all of you. We must stand united, organized, and peaceful to get justice for every single one of our loved ones whose life was cut short too soon. We love you now and always, Alfonso, and we will always miss you, and we will not give up until justice is served. Buenos días. Hoy es un día triste y potente. Digo triste porque miro hacia la multitud y veo a tantas familias y personas que han perdido a un ser querido a una cuestión que no debería de existir. Pero también digo que es un día potente porque al mismo tiempo veo a una multitud de personas que están utilizando su voz y hablan en contra del abuso y la brutalidad de la policía. El 13 de octubre del 2012, mi hermano Alfonso Limón Jr. fue intencionalmente balaceado por el Departamento de Policías de Oxnard, que según ellos confundieron con un sospechoso que ellos perseguían. Aquellos policías le robaron su vida fríamente y sin ninguna razón. Sus errores causaron la muerte de mi hermano y un gran vacío en nuestros corazones. La muerte de mi hermano pudo haber y debería haber sido evitada. Extrañamos su sonrisa, sus abrazos, su compañía y amor. Cada día lo extrañamos más. Él no merecía que le robaran la vida fríamente porque él tenía todo su futuro por delante. Compartimos el mismo dolor, tristeza, ira y frustraciones como todos ustedes. Debemos de mantenernos unidos, fuertes, organizados y pacíficos para poder obtener justicia para todo y cada uno de nuestros seres queridos cuya vida fue robada repentinamente. Alfonso, te queremos hoy y siempre y no nos daremos por vencidos hasta haber hecho justicia por ti. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. I think what we'll do is if we could ask, we'll go from that end of our guests this way. So Mr. Knight, Representative Mr. Naida. And you feel free to pull the mic out too. Yeah. Okay. Bienvenido.
My name is Damian Ramirez.
Yeah.
Michael Naida was my best friend. I've known him since he was 4 years old. I watched him grow up. You know, my younger brother and him were best friends since kindergarten. So he was like my little brother, you know. He was a great guy, family man. He had 4 beautiful children. He was going out to celebrate his birthday. His birthday was 3 days away from October 22nd. That was the night he was murdered. October 22nd, 2011. Stopped to get gas in the city of Downey. We don't even live in Downey. He just stopped to get gas. Apparently, according to police, even though this report's never been released, we can never get this confirmed, there was an armed robbery in the area. They were looking for 2 suspects. Mikey did not fit the description of the suspects that they were looking for, but that didn't stop them. And in the DA report, they described Mikey as looking like a gang member, which is all it took for them to end his life. Now the thing is that Mikey was going out to celebrate his birthday he was going out to party. You know, he had no idea that something like this was going on in the neighborhood. But when they stopped him, that says it right there, he looked like a gang member. So how do you think they treated him when they stopped him? You think they were courteous and respectful? No, because it's a war out there. And the worst gang that we're dealing with is the police department. So this gang member with a badge approaches my friend and asks him basically where he's from, hits him up, right? Mikey freaks out. I'm going out to party, man. My wife's right across the street. He had run across the street. That's his big crime, is he jaywalked. Go get some cigarettes for his wife. So he's trying to explain to this police officer who he is, and they're you know, treating him like the gang member they think he is. And Mikey panicked, man, and he ran because he knew his wife. The only person who believed in him in this situation was waiting right across the street, and they got these cops that are freaking out, talking about felonies, talking about putting Mike away. Mikey boned out to get back to his wife. He ran for his life. And when they put the call out on the radio about my friend, they described him as the assailants that they were looking for. They were looking for 2 African Americans in black hooded sweatshirts, and Mikey was wearing a multicolored polo shirt that did not fit the clothing at all. But they described him as the suspect so they could apprehend him with prejudice, right? So Mikey calls his wife. He's hiding, you know, he's like, come and get me. The cops are chasing me. I don't know what's going on. So she's looking for him. He's in a panic. They're chasing him down. Mikey jumps a wall, and at this point, Officer Steve Gilley and Officer Michael Powell see Mikey. Officer Michael Powell, in the DA report, sees that Mikey's unarmed. When Mikey jumps the fence in the house that he was hiding in, his shirt goes up over his back, and Mikey is twice detained. They know he's unarmed. They detain Mike. Steve Gilley, the officer who murdered my friend, tells Mikey, don't do anything stupid or I'm going to blow your effing head off. That's all he needed to hear, right? This guy's pointing a machine gun at him. That's right, an MP5 submachine gun. So Mikey ran. And when Mikey's running for his life, Officer Steve Gilley puts 3 rounds in his back. In his back, running away. One of the questions that was asked tonight about, you know, why do you take to the streets and why do you fight back? The first thing they did to my friend, the first thing they did to everybody's sons, they lied. They lied immediately. They said Mikey made an aggressive move towards the police officers, that he was acting like a caged animal, that he wanted to fight. Mikey's 135 pounds, soaking wet, wearing boots. Okay, he didn't want to fight a cop. He wanted to get back to his wife and finish celebrating his birthday. But they ended that night. They said he got shot in the chest. We knew he got shot in the back because they came out that night from the emergency room and said, your son's been shot in the back. Don't listen to them when they tell you he was shot in the chest. So for 3 months, we went to city council meetings and we said Mikey was shot in the back. The sheriffs, the media, who's supposed to be impartial, the city of Downey, they all said no. Well, Mikey made an aggressive move towards police officers. For 3 months, we said that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. And it wasn't until the independent press. There's a small newspaper in Downey called the Downey Beat. They're only online, they're independent, run by one man with a dream. He subpoenaed the autopsy reports. He found out that Mikey was shot in the back 3 times, and he broke the story. But if we don't fight their lies from the get-go, their lies are the story that gets told. One of the things that we fight for, we talked about it, is the legacy, because that's all we have left. All we have left is the legacy that our loved ones leave us, because their bodies are in the ground. They are dead. They're gone. They're not coming back. But their legacies belong to their families. These liars and these murderers, they don't get to tell the story. They don't get to tell the lies. That's not what we remember. We fight for the truth. All we have to do is tell the truth. We tell the truth. We tell the truth. It doesn't change. Their lies change. Their lies change every time. But our truth is universal. And when we, you know what? When we took to the streets and we started to protest, we started to find other families. Because that's the thing, is that there are so many of us out there who are hiding. Because this is a hard thing to do, to stand up to the cops and say, we're going to fight you back. It's a hard thing to say, we're not going to accept your lies. We're not going to accept what you say about our loved ones. Because you know what they do? Just like when Martin Angel Hernandez was murdered in Anaheim. in front of his whole neighborhood. Just like we'll talk about Manuel. Genevieve's going to talk about her son. When Martin Angel Hernandez was murdered in the city of Anaheim in front of 60 witnesses, when the DA report comes out, why does only one witness make their name into the DA report? 59 people said Martin surrendered, dropped his weapon, and was shot in the head, because a gang hit is a gang hit. And when a cop kills somebody, it's a gang hit. Don't you doubt it. These communities are waiting. They are waiting to be empowered. Those of us, you know what, when they killed my friend, I made an oath that morning that they were not going to get away with this, that I would fight until my last breath to make sure that they don't get away with this. And you know what? We have that kind of resolve. We have that kind of commitment. We can use this to inspire people who are afraid to come forward, because you know what? My uncle was killed in '83 by the police that I live in. And you know what they told my parents? They said, yeah, there's something there, but do you want to raise your kids in Southgate? Then you better put it away. That was in 1983. There was no Facebook. There was no social media. There was no way for us to connect. Right? 3 years ago, 2 years ago, we had the Egyptian Spring. Right? That's what inspired us. That's what inspired us, is that in some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, people could connect through social media, that people could connect and rise up and change things. And we've seen that happen here. We've seen that happen in each one of our communities. In Orange County and LA, we're organized. We've got families. We've got Martin Angel Hernandez's family with us today. We've got Jose de la Trinidad's family with us today. We've got Javier Arizola's family with us today. We've got Tony Francis's family with us today. We've got Cesar Cruz's family with us today. We've got Marcel Sejas' family with us today. We've got Manuel Diaz's family with us today. That's right, we fight together and we fight hard, because family don't fail each other. And family we don't put up with this. We're all family now. You know how much I've been looking forward to coming to Oxnard to meet you people, to meet my family? Because we're all family. And we're all fighting for the same thing. We're fighting for justice. You know, no justice, no peace. There's no peace in my life since they killed my friend. There will be no peace in my life until he gets the justice he deserves. That's what we say when we say no justice, no peace. I have no peace in my life. So I will go out there and make sure I find justice. We find justice so we can have that peace in our lives. That hole will never fill. But we can change the system so that our loved ones, our children, that's who we fight for, don't have to grow up in the same system. We will change that broken system from top to bottom, because we know what's right. We are the people, and we do have the power. Thank you, sisters and brothers.
No justice. No justice. No peace. Thank you, brother, for representing the Michael Nida family. If we could please ask brother that I finally got to meet. We've been on the phone for months.